There you go.
I heard Karen on the shot conference.
Did you say hi to her?
No.
Okay, well, just by way of opening up again, as I said, it's pretty informal. I'll let you guys ask any questions that you have as of this point in time. But for the most part, as far as the release that we issued Friday, that pretty much still stands as far as the city and county's official position on this as of this point in time. We do know that PNC Bank did file a notice of default on the loan, and then I think it was reported by 25 last week that Firefly was letting go of some of its employees, and that kind of got the ball rolling on everything, and that's why the city and county released the statement. So,
I looked for their official bankruptcy filings, but has it not been put in yet today?
I don't know if it has. I asked our state's attorney's office if anything had come through this morning, and they had said no. So there's nothing yet official.
Right. Talk to me a little bit about, obviously $6 million is pretty significant for taxpayers. How exactly are you guys going to go about getting your money back, if any, or are you expecting to just kind of eat it?
Well, I think this is the important point that we made in the statement on Friday still stands, and that's that we're going to pursue every legal means that we have available to us to make sure that we're protecting the taxpayers' investment in this project. We did guarantee a loan from PNC Bank to Firefly. PNC Bank, under the terms of that loan, has to make sure that they're taking the efforts to try and secure that collateral. So we're going to work to make sure that we're trying to protect that as much as we possibly can.
After they liquidate their assets, obviously they're going to try and pay off as many people that they owe money to as possible. But is there still a chance that you guys, let's say that doesn't equal enough to pay everyone back, is there a chance that you guys could still end up footing?
Well, I think as we said in the statement on Friday, the worst case is that there is a chance that we have to pay the full $6 million to PNC as the guarantors of that loan. But we feel that the intellectual property that is there from Firefly has significant value, and we would fully expect that PNC as the primary creditor would go after that to ensure that all of our interests, both as the junior creditors and the primary creditors, are protected.
So if another company buys Firefly and takes over that intellectual property, would you guys get paid, or would they have to pay you off when taking over the company?
As that would follow, if there was new management that were to be assumed at Firefly, I'm probably not sure how that would fully and completely work. We're still in a creditor situation, so at some point in time, if it's completely new management of Firefly, they still have that loan outstanding, that they're in default, and they're going to have to make whole with PNC Bank. So.
Or rather, if just that technology is sold off, how would that affect you?
Well, that's where the value of that intellectual property is important, and that's why we view that as very important to both the city and county.
It's $6 million, but is it $3 million for the county, $3 million for the city? Is that how it works?
That's correct.
Okay. Is that the total amount right now? Do we have it? Can you quantify how much exactly is at stake at this point in time? I mean, it was $6 million several years ago.
It was $6 million several years ago, but the loan was an interest-only loan for the first 3 years. So they've been paying interest on the loan, but no principal has been paid down. So it is still $6 million.
And there was a gap loan too, correct?
That gap loan was paid off.
When was that paid off?
Oh, I want to say it was about 1.5 years ago. We can get you the exact date on when that was, but that loan was paid off.
My understanding is, and talking to some county board members, is that everything even talks about expansion were going on.
About a year ago, last year, they were talking about expansion, and they were really trying to look at the stimulus bill as a way of possibly finding additional monies for green technology. But when you're in a development stage company and you're spending money without any money coming in, and you're living off of some of the contracts you have, you're in a negative cash flow position. And I think that's just, time got the best of it there.
Has your office been in communications with Firefly folks? I mean, is this a surprise to you?
We have been talking with them. We have been talking with them over the past several months for a number of different matters and issues regarding this loan. It's just unfortunate it got to this point.
Now, if there's bankruptcy, where would this happen at? I mean, do we know yet? I mean, that's the one question mark. Could it happen locally or?
Don't know yet.
Is this something in the future that the city and the county would hesitate to invest in another company locally, would you hesitate to back another company in the way that you have?
You know, I wouldn't want to speak for the city, since it's just me here.
Okay.
But you know, speaking on behalf of the county, I think that, you know, we do have a number of loans that we have granted out through our smaller revolving loan fund. The largest of those loans is $150,000. I do think that we're going to take a good, long, hard look at our policies and procedures with regards to business loans, revolving loans, and making sure that you know, recognizing really, number one, the economy has changed a lot over the last 3 years. Number two, what's viable in this new economy? And then number three, what are those policies and procedures that we can have in place to ensure that our loans are paid back? So we'll be taking a long, hard look at our policies and procedures.
So you're not going to be jumping on the bandwagon to back another company, I take it?
Probably not in the near future.
Well, Firefly, was this the largest amount that had been loaned to a company this size?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
probably
Yes.
this kind of amount won't be considered again. The small business loans are up to about 150,000.
150, right.
And that's probably more where everybody's going to stay in the future instead of going 3 million or more.
At least that, probably on our end, that I would say that for sure. So.
If you don't get the money back, what's that going to mean for Peoria?
Well, the city and the county, the city pledged utility tax proceeds for their portion of the loan. The county pledged $1 million out of funds that we had received from helping out. We received a $10 million grant from the state of Illinois to help Keystone Steel and Wire stay in business. We used the proceeds from that. We put $1 million up into a cash reserve fund. Okay. We then pledged personal property replacement tax dollars because we didn't have enough money paid back from the Keystone loan. We will likely at the county utilize those Keystone dollars for any of our dollars that we may be outstanding with this loan if it gets to that point. We're hopeful that it won't have to. And as we said before, we're going to pursue every option that we have legally to try and go after, you know, the making sure that we're going after and protecting the interest of the taxpayers, and particularly trying to maximize the value of that intellectual property that's there.
Sure.
So,
Patrick, how could this impact the current budget year? I mean, is there any can you quantify that?
you know, again, for the county, you know, I really can't speak to the city, but speaking for the county, you know, I think that's where having those dollars in the backstop of the Keystone proceeds are going to help the county tremendously. So, but it is a significant concern. I have a feeling that it's going to take a while before the dust settles on this, though, too.
So in the meantime, are you still having to pay that back? Are you still having to make payments to the bank?
We have not made any payments to the bank. Excuse me, Firefly has been making those payments to the bank. We have not had to make any of those payments.
Patrick, it's a complicated issue, bankruptcy law, business law. Are you going to be in with the city on this kind of a combined thing, have a higher upside?
Yeah, the city and county are looking at retaining outside counsel together.
It's a pretty long process. I mean, I'm sure this won't get resolved for a long time.
To speak to John's question about, you know, how long this is going to take, this could take a while, so, from a legal perspective.
Just so we have it on tape, how is this a spin-off off of Caterpillar? Is this using the battery technology?
Alex, new guy. Sorry. It is Caterpillar. The Caterpillar had employees that were working on this type of technology, and then they took that as the patents were being applied for. CAT invested in Firefly at the very beginning. I think they still have an employee on the board of directors, and so that was the impetus. It came out of Caterpillar as a spin-off and started as a separate company.
As you mentioned, the county's worked really hard over the past year in terms of balancing its budget, and so using, I believe, the grant, that would help that, and so that wouldn't negatively affect the...
Correct.
How much is available in that Keystone?
I think at this point we have more than enough to cover the Firefly loan. I want to say that we've been paid back to date roughly $6 to $7 million. So of that grant so far.
But that money would otherwise go to, if Firefly was still in business, would go to what?
It's actually, the grant can only be used for economic development or infrastructure purposes because it was money that came out of the state's capital build program. So it would go towards things like Firefly.
So it's not in the reserves? Because I thought you said something about reserves.
It's current because it's not budgeted. It is sitting in our reserves right now, but not in our general fund reserves. It's in a separate account.
Did the city receive anything from that or not?
What about the structure? How's that, I mean, is that gonna be the city counties, or is that how, the building?
Oh, the structure is owned, that's a separate creditor. That's G&D Integrated is the owner of that building. It's a separate creditor.
From what I understand, the city and county have access to Firefly's technology. Is there anything to be said about that? Might you do something with that?
Well, no, we don't, you know, as, we were simply guarantors of the loan, so we don't have access to the technology
Okay.
specifically.
Okay.
Any other questions? Does that help? Thank you guys for
Yeah.
doing this all at
To
one time. I
clarify
appreciate it.
for